Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now, today I wanted to talk about just the state of the overall market because we've seen a lot of things happening recently that are ridiculously bullish, and so I want to go over those and talk about what they are, what they could mean, all that type of stuff kind of moving on into the market. And so anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. So starting out, what we can see is even just on the daily chart, we've still got some pretty major gainers, going in, which is just insane compared to what we've seen over the past couple of months. I mean, the fact that some of these, even these, 10 to 15%, but then we've got some that are, in the 40 to 50%. So obviously things doing really, really well. We do have a little bit of red interspersed in here. It's mainly meme coins. Meme coins are kind of pulling back a little bit. Again, not too big of a concern, especially given the fact when we look at the weekly gains. I mean, still up huge overall. And so not too big of a deal overall. The market is looking pretty strong, pretty solid. If we do look at kind of like the market overview chart that I have made on CoinGlass, you can see this kind of pulls some of the main leading indicators that I tend to look at in the market. And we can see obviously sitting in extreme greed. I don't think this is much of a surprise to any of us. I mean, obviously things have been very, very frothy so far. The market's done really, really well. If we look at RSI, we can see the average is kind of creeping up into this strong range. We do have several in the overbought territory, but I'd say the majority of the market still is sitting in neutral but continuing to kind of move up into the strong range, like I said. And looking at open interest and volume, we can see that open interest has just exploded, as well as volume too. I mean, we've seen some major moves up in volume. Open interest is also very important though, just because we are seeing a lot more money moving into the market, which again is always a good thing. Then looking at the exchange liquidation map, we can see things are actually relatively balanced, which is good because recently we've seen price go up a massive amount on the Bitcoin chart, particularly. And so the fact that we're kind of starting to see liquidations kind of level out on both sides up at this price range is still pretty good. If we look at 7-day, we can see it is kind of still slanted to the downside a little bit. However, given the strength that we have seen on the Bitcoin chart recently, it's hard to say if we're actually going to see too much of a pullback. If we do look at the Bitcoin chart, we can see huge move up, and then as we've seen is we've kind of started to consolidate at this level up here. Again, we're looking at the daily here, so obviously we broke out of this descending channel a little over a month ago, and it's basically just been up only since then. If we were to zoom in a little bit, we could see we have actually even kind of departed from this kind of trend line that we were following, and we've essentially just gapped up. And the most important thing that we're seeing here though is this hold kind of right along this trend line. We're kind of following a trend line like this after we've hit this kind of point up here, which is really good because generally when we see a move up like this, we usually either see one of two things happen. We see up and then boom, down right back to where we were, or we see up and then kind of move to the side and then up again, generally. Now, honestly, the fact that we've seen this second one is honestly really, really good because this is mainly what we wanted to see, and this is showing strength within the chart. Also, you can see if I get rid of this one, we can see we've got this little trend line up here. We're continuing to see price go up, but RSI continue to move down as price continues to go up, which is always a really good thing to see within the crypto market because essentially as price continues to go higher, the buying price essentially tends to look better, kind of relative to where it was before, which is kind of crazy when we think that this price was lower than this price. So that's obviously a super bullish sign and something that we're always looking for. So the fact that we're holding this level right here is very, very important, and it's looking really good. I mean, obviously we can see the Bollinger Bands. We kind of saw a little bit of a squeeze here, and then that's when price exploded. Usually, as we've kind of talked about before on the channel, when we do see a bit of a squeeze in the Bollinger Bands, volatility is expected one way or the other. We're not necessarily sure which, but volatility is expected. And obviously we could see that, the upside, which is I think the side most of us were wanting to see is where it happened. And we are starting to see the Bollinger Bands kind of pull up. And the average is now sitting almost just shy of 80,000 here. So things looking really, really good on the Bitcoin chart. We can see, volume doing really, really well. So if you are wanting to trade some of this, volume and volatility and a lot of this type of stuff on, Bitcoin or altcoins or whatever, feel free to use my link in the description below for Margex. I have been using Margex for quite a while. As you can see, I do actually have a Bitcoin trade open. I did kind of buy one here when it did pull back off of this run to the upside. We can see it's up about just shy of 200% at this point, looking pretty good overall. Obviously things looking really, really strong in the Bitcoin market. If you are interested in doing something similar and want to want to get in on trading Bitcoin or altcoins or whatever, you can do up to 100x leverage on Margex with no KYC or VPN required. You essentially just get signed up and get started trading. It's really, really nice. I've quite enjoyed using it so far. So if you are interested, just feel free to click on my link in the description below and go ahead and get signed up. So anyway, moving on, as we can see, obviously chart looking really, really good. I did want to move back into a couple other pieces of like data that we're seeing within the crypto market, just to kind of see how bullish all of this data is. Honestly, like, I know we were talking, in July, August, September, when nothing was really going on in the market. I know we were talking about how, this could happen and this could happen and this would all be super bullish, all this type of stuff. I mean, it's kind of all happened and kind of, in my opinion, and more a little bit, right? Because what we're seeing, some of the numbers that we're seeing just out of the crypto ecosystem overall has been kind of staggering. And I think the speed at which we got here is the most surprising to me. I didn't expect it to kind of come on so quickly. I kind of figured that this would always happen, but I wasn't totally sure that this is exactly when it would, even though historically this is kind of the time when it does. There's just a lot of uncertainty within the market. But what we can see is, total open interest and volume breaking 100 billion, which is insane. A ton of money moving in through the crypto ecosystem. Bitcoin itself is breaking over 60 or 50 billion. So, I mean, almost over half of like the total open interest is sitting in Bitcoin, which is about right for where we are in the cycle. Like, I know we're all getting excited by how our alts are moving and all this type of stuff, but truly we haven't really even seen an alt season yet for crypto and just kind of everything overall. Like, obviously we've seen a little bit of gains, but if any of you are around for 2021, like, or even 2017 for that matter, like, things are just getting started, right? And so what we can see is, open interest up over double, even just year to date. And so obviously things looking really, really good. Looking at the RSI heat map, I know we took a look at a little bit smaller version of this earlier, but I want to kind of zoom in on this so we could kind of take a look at how things are going overall. We can see we do have a couple things kind of creeping up into overbought, most things in strong, and then kind of, I would say, the majority of the market over in neutral. If we go up to larger timeframes, we can see that things do kind of creep more into the overbought and strong zone. We can see on the 24-hour average RSI actually is sitting in strong, and then 1 week we actually are still kind of just sitting in neutral. But what we are seeing is overall the market is getting a little bit frothy. Things are looking a little bit, maybe over greedy a little bit. If we look at the visual screener, we can see something similar. Shorts closing, longs entering on the short time frame. Kind of more mixed on the hour, and then 4 hour it's going to be again more shorts closing, longs entering, and then 24 same type of thing. A little bit more balanced, but still very much biased towards closing shorts and entering longs. So overall, essentially what we're seeing here is the market is very, very optimistic with what's happening. Obviously, gains are looking quite nice for all of us. Things looking good overall. However, one thing that we do just always need to keep a kind of a reminder on is when this stuff happens, like, usually there is some level of correction. I'm not saying that we're going to go right back to where we started. I do think we are in a bull market, so I don't think that we're going to see any sort of like major corrections. But I mean, we have seen 20 to 30% corrections in bull markets before. And so this is just something to kind of keep in mind, that even though things are looking really, really good right now, if we do see some level of corrections, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Things like this happen all the time, and this is something that I think you should probably be prepared for. And so always, if you're entering 100x longs or things like that right now, or 1000x longs, all this type of fun stuff, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you're being careful, just because a lot of this stuff can be very risky, particularly when we're in a situation right now where RSIs are showing overbought, crypto derivatives, everybody's kind of going in longs and closing shorts, doing all this type of stuff. We've got the liquidation maps and the liquidation charts showing kind of more liquidity kind of to the downside, and that the markets would make more by kind of even just a quick move to the downside. There's a lot of this stuff going on that it's showing like we might see a correction. However, though, this is where things get a little bit difficult, because we are seeing massively bullish signals within the overall market. And so I don't even know how long the market could stay down, if it even were to go down, just because we've got the US looking to introduce a Bitcoin strategic reserve. What that means for potentially political adversaries like, Iran or Russia or China or North Korea, are they going to start buying Bitcoin? We've got, a lot more like crypto legislation looking to be coming in the near future. There's a lot of stuff like this coming that I think is going to be really, really good for just the crypto ecosystem overall. And so I do think we are still super, super early, even though things are looking potentially a little overextended right now. We go, zoom out maybe a year from now, I think, we're not even going to recognize the market that we're sitting in currently. So anyway, hopefully the information in this video was useful. If it was, please do give me a like and subscribe. It really, really does help me out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, please feel free to drop in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of my comments. If you have anything you want me to see, that'd be a great place to do it. Also, as I said, please feel free to check the links in my description if you are interested in signing up for Margex or BTCC or any of those, where you want to go through and get started trading or leverage trading or anything like that. Feel free to do so. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you in the next video.